Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Danilo Caprick here, aka the best dressed man in tech sales. And today we're going to answer the question of how stressful is software sales? Is it stressful to the point that I'm going to need to get a therapist? Am I going to hate my life every day? Do not worry, we're going to answer those questions right now. All right, guys, so we need to answer this question, how stressful is software sales? Because no matter what career path we decide to go down in life, stress and how stressful the job is going to be a major factor in determining whether or not we go down that career path or not. So being in software sales now for about 9 years, I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of perspective into how stressful is this job really at the end of the day. So what we'll do is I'll walk through some of the more stressful components of the job because no secret, there is some stress involved like any job, but there's also a lot of good opposite of stress components. We'll call them the more blissful and pleasurable components of sales that we'll also go through as well. So by the end of this, we hope to give you kind of a balanced approach, but answer the question of what are the stressful parts of software sales? And then what are the parts that are really awesome and that are really, helping us get pleasure and a sense of bliss, all right? So let's start with the stressful stuff. And when I think about stress, I think about uncomfortable, I feel, unpleasantness, and maybe I'll associate it with the chemical in our brain called cortisol, right? AKA the stress little chemical that we get when we're stressed out. And if I think about which components or which parts of software sales are really stressful, I think there's a couple of noteworthy ones to point out. Number one is definitely going to be having a quota, right? So anytime you start a software sales job, whether it's very entry level and you're an SDR or you're an account executive, you're going to have some kind of quota, some kind of metric that you need to hit. It might be a number of meetings you have to get every month. It might be, number of dials, number of emails, whatever. But in most cases, if you're in a closing role like an account executive, you're going to have to hit a number of closed deals. And if you've never had a quota before, that can be really stressful because it's probably the number one metric that's used to judge you on whether or not you were successful in the role. So having a quota, knowing that that's going to be the biggest thing that they use to judge your performance, and also knowing that it's all on you to hit that number is very stressful, especially if you've never been in a job where you've had a quota before. The next part about the job that's pretty stressful, especially if you've never done this before, is the outreach. Okay, so most people automatically start thinking about cold calling and cold messaging at this point. Those are the things that are a little bit stressful, especially again, if you've never done them. When it comes to cold calling, it's stressful because you have no idea who's going to pick up the phone. You have no idea if they're going to be in a good mood, bad mood. You have no idea sometimes what you're going to say. All of that is a little nerve-wracking. Even when you're putting together an email or a LinkedIn message, it's a little nerve-wracking because you might be there for minutes or hours or half hours just staring at the computer and thinking, what do I say to this person? How do I get them to reply? How do I personalize this? What information can I use, right? And so having to put together all that outreach and eventually send it, knowing that some random customer or prospect is going to read it, is very stressful. So that's another part of the job that is definitely more on the stressful side of things. And then some of the other things that are stressful that we'll throw in there is number one, research. So what do I mean by this? Well, when software sales reps are reaching out to new customers, or if they're taking care of existing customers, they have to do some research, right? If they're sending out a personalized message, they're gonna have to research what is going on with the business. How can I personalize this based on recent news and business developments, right? So having to do research many different times in our job is very stressful because we have to find different places to look for information, consistently scan the web, have alerts in different places, all that. The other thing I'll say on top of that is we have to manage client requests. So depending on your job, you might be purely going after new customers, or you might be doing that and taking care of existing customers who already are spending money with you. If you're taking care of those existing customers, you're going to have to meet with them monthly and bring value to those calls every time. Prepping for those meetings, finding ways to bring value to those clients consistently month over month is very stressful because it's all on you. And at the end of the day, what you bring to the table, that's what they're going to use to judge you on how valuable or not valuable you are. And if it's not valuable, they're not going to show up to your meetings, straight up. So that's the other thing, guys, our reputation, what we can bring to these current customers, it's all on us. And we have this task of every single month putting together some kind of value to bring them in some kind of way, shape, or form. And if we don't, it looks bad on us. So that's another big stressful part of the job for sure. All right, guys, so to round off the stressful parts of the job here, I think the last thing that I'll say here is with respect to your quota, it is largely out of your control whether or not you hit that quota. And what I mean by this is you cannot make or force a prospect to buy, right? You can do all the right things. You can literally follow every step. You can work with all the experts. You can do all the right things. And at the very end, somebody can pull out of your deal and say, you know what, yeah, we just had a big change internally, or that person got fired and we're not gonna be able to move forward with the deal. It has happened to me, it has happened to other countless software sales reps. You can ask around. But at the end of the day, knowing that we cannot force buyers to buy, and that is completely out of our control, that is also really stressful because, again, we're being asked to hit a quota. And when it comes to signing a contract, closing a deal, we don't really have control over how a prospect buys or if they even decide to buy. So guys, all of those things I mentioned, those are definitely more on the stressful side of what to expect with software sales. All right, guys, so now that we got the stressful stuff out of the way, let's talk about the not so stressful parts of the job, the parts that actually bring us a lot of pleasure and a lot of bliss. All right, so item number one on the more pleasurable and blissful side of software sales is not necessarily the money that you get from closing a deal, but it's what you can do with that money. So in other words, the meaningful things that you can purchase with your commission checks, that's probably the number one most awesome, pleasurable part of software sales. And to give you guys a little bit of experience, some of my favorite things to buy or I have bought in the past with commission checks are number one, plane tickets, right? Everybody loves to travel. Everybody knows how travel can impact your life and give you a lot of amazing experiences that nobody can take away from you. So let's be real, you can travel the world if you're in tech sales using some of your commission dollars to fund your travels. So that is probably the number one blissful thing on software sales is using your commission checks in a meaningful way to buy things that actually mean something to you. And you could also do things for your family, right? I purchased a car for my mother recently. I helped her furnish her new home. And these are all things I was able to do with my commission dollars from tech sales. All right, guys, the next thing that we can expect from tech sales that's more on the pleasurable side and blissful side is financial stability and security. And a lot of people actually think the opposite of this, which I think is funny because people come into sales or when they think about sales, they think that it's commission only. And let me be very firm. In tech sales, I have not seen a tech sales job that was commission only, and I wouldn't take it, to be honest. Every single job I've ever had in tech sales always had a salary and equity and commission. So it was very, very good in terms of consistently paying me, giving me that security net in order to feel like, wow, I'm really taken care of. I don't have to worry about where my next dollar is coming from. So that's the other thing I think is really, really awesome about software sales. That's definitely on the more blissful side because at the end of the day, you're getting financial security that you probably never had before. And to give you guys some insight on my end, I mean, I came from working at the mall where I was getting paid hourly and I wasn't making enough, right? But then again, I had to look at my schedule every week and my earning was determined by how much time I'd be spending at work, right? How many hours do I get this week? How many hours do I get next week? In software sales, I didn't care about that because I got a salary. So that's the other really good thing, guys, is that in software sales, you can get a salary that can give you that financial stability and security so you don't have to worry about where is your next dollar coming from. So two more things on the blissful and pleasurable side of software sales. Number one, by getting into software sales, you will meet some amazing people. And when I say amazing people, I mean very intelligent people, people who you probably would never cross paths with normally in life, and people that are just very, very diverse. I mean, tech, whether you believe it or not, is actually full of so many people from around the world. People come from different countries, people come from different schools, and especially now, people are coming from all sorts of industries, right? Like me, I came from retail. I know people who used to be chefs and now they're in tech sales. So it's a really cool way to meet people. And let's be real, most times, guys, they're gonna be smarter than you. Like I work with a lot of people now who, I don't know, have degrees from Stanford. Believe it or not, I work with people who have PhDs. So the access and the caliber of folks that I'm getting to work with on a daily basis is just mind-blowing to me. So that's definitely the other really cool thing about tech sales that's on the more pleasurable side. You'll be able to meet very cool new people who are very intelligent, but also can become new friends for you, right? So that's definitely a point we want to stress here that is on the more blissful side of tech sales. All right, so the last thing that's on the blissful side of tech sales is the fact that you will get sharper as a person. What exactly do I mean? I mean, you will literally get more intelligent because you're gonna learn a lot of cool things. You're gonna learn how to be a better writer. You're gonna learn how to be a better speaker. You're gonna learn how to speak with C-level executives. You're gonna learn so many different things that I can't even rattle off. You're gonna learn how to use sales tools. You're gonna learn how to position value, how to story tell, all these different things. And at the end of the day, if you do this for a long time, you can get really, really sharp, become an expert, become a great communicator, and really you'll find that the skills you gain from software sales will make a huge impact on your personal life and how you carry out your day-to-day. So that's the other really big point I want to stress here, guys, is the fact that By doing software sales, especially if you're in it for more than 5 years, let's say, you'll get really, really sharp at some of these skills that we end up using every day. So overall, guys, that's the video for today. Hope this gives you a good idea of how stressful the job is, but also how pleasurable the job can be, especially if you continue to do it for a couple of years. So overall, guys, hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, please hit the subscribe button below. Also, if you're not doing so already, please follow me on LinkedIn, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye now.